Hey y'all, and welcome. Another video coming to you from the Holistic Hacker. Just checking in for this week, keeping true to my one-a-week promise. So my focus this week is on how to make better choices in eating, because I think a lot of us, we go to our doctor or we go to a nutritionist or a registered dietitian, or maybe we just, even going to Weight Watchers or any of the common diet clinics, and they're like, you just need to eat better, you just need to eat whole foods, low fat, low sugar, low salt, low this, low that. We don't even really know what that means. And so a lot of my focus is helping to educate people. And my tagline is eat like a human. And part of the reason why I said that is because we are the only mammal that does not know how to feed itself. We're the only one that has to have directions. Look at your dog, look at your cat, look at a cow. They all know where to get ideal food for them. There's a reason why your dog goes to the trash can. It has a great sense of smell. It can figure out what it can eat. Yeah, it'll throw up some things that it shouldn't have. But for the most part, they know how to eat. They know how much to eat. Left alone in the wild, animals aren't fat. They don't gain weight. They're not obese. They know how much to eat, and they stop when they're satisfied. We're the only one that has to be taught, so that's a lot of my focus. So I'm going to do, I think, part of this video series. I don't know if I'm going to do a video every day this week, but certainly for tonight I'm going to tackle the first element that I think is most important when we clean up our diet. And I'm going to try to put some slides in here too, so that way you're not just listening to or watching me speak, but rather that you have some visuals. But for this week, we're going to talk about oils and what type of oils are good for cold uses, what type of oils are good for hot uses, and what type of oils we really want to avoid. So I'm going to ignore you for just a moment because I'm actually going to pull up my presentation so I can use my notes. But a couple things to think about when we're thinking about oils for when we're cooking. There's a lot of confusion on this topic, and I think we get confused for two reasons. One, because we're told so many different things, and two, because I think the other problem that we have is that there's a lot of information out there. We don't really know what's true and what's not. So let's look at the very basics, and these are pretty much there's not a whole lot of argument on these. So the first thing you want to think about is that when we're cooking hot foods, we want to look at our saturated fats. Now, saturated fat got demonized a long time ago, but we're seeing in pretty regular scientific literature that saturated fat got a bad rap. It's really not all that bad for you, and it's actually not linked to heart disease as much anymore. So it's a good thing, and you want to eat saturated fats, but we want to think about how we're eating them, right? We know if we go down to, McDonald's, or we go to any type of novelty restaurant, we know that we're probably getting things that are fried, it's oxidized oil, probably kept entirely too hot, probably used entirely too long. We know these are not health foods, and that's why, right, they're novelties. We go out, we have them once in a while. Sometimes you need a French fry. I am never going to tell you to not eat a French fry because they're yummy. But we do want to think about every day, what should we be using? So what are your ideal saturated fats? The very first one that is like everyone's favorite food right now is coconut oil. And I admit I do like coconut oil. However, if you are like me and you're a little sketchy about the coconut flavor in your food, coconut oil can have a coconut flavor depending on what brand you buy. I'm a big fan of Nativa organic coconut oil. I think it cooks up really well. I personally only like it on things like my protein pancakes, which the recipe is on the blog. Just do a little search for protein pancakes, you'll find it. But I like it on my protein pancakes. I like it in baking. I love to make my morning scone recipe, which I'll be posting in the near future. Oh, that's amazing with coconut oil. So there's certain things that I like to use it on. I personally don't care for it on eggs, but some people love it on their meat and their eggs. So again, use it as you want to. I put it in my curries, things like that. But it is a very stable fat, which means you can heat it at a high temperature and you can fry foods, you can saute, and it is not going to oxidize. It's going to stay very healthy for you, and that's what we want. Another one is butter. I personally love grass-fed butter. If you've never had grass-fed butter, my friend, you do not know what you are missing. So I encourage you to go check it out. It's amazing. Locally here in Pennsylvania, they sell Kerrygold butter, which is just to die for. But if you can get local grass-fed butter from your farmer, even better. But butter is amazing, and again, a very stable fat. It can burn though, so we want to watch it at the high temperatures, but definitely like your medium setting, generally you're safe with butter. Animal fats like lard and tallow. Lard is from pigs. Oh, wait a minute. I think I'm going to mess it up. Yeah, no, lard is from pigs and tallow is from meat. Both of the animal fats are amazing. They are great for cooking, fantastic for frying up some organic potatoes, fine for frying up, or sauteing in, any of that sort of thing. Oh my gosh, amazing. Really, really good. And then you have ghee, which is clarified butter. It's butter with the milk fat pulled out. So it's just the clarified oil that's left over. Again, very stable fat. And then there's full-fat dairy, which are things like your full-fat yogurts, your full-fat creams, full-fat milk, that sort of thing. I don't know that you're going to cook with those, but they're great for consumption. These are all going to tend to be solid at a room temperature. So your saturated fats are solid at a room temperature. They're very, very stable to cook with. And again, we want to use them for hot uses. I know, have I said that often enough? Only for hot. Okay. Next is going to be your unsaturated fats. And so these are your ones that we hear of with the Mediterranean diets and things like that. And olive oil. We all are familiar with olive oil. What a great salad oil. And that's really where olive oil belongs. It belongs in your cold uses. So your oils that are liquid at room temperature, that are unsaturated, or the monosaturated as they call them, are monounsaturated, I believe. We want to focus those on our cold uses. So you have olive oil, macadamia nut oil, avocado oil, walnut oil, sesame seed oil, any of your nut and seed oils. They're liquid at a room temperature, best for cold uses. Why? Because when you heat them too much, they oxidize, they break down and they oxidize. And so we want to make sure that we're not doing that, because oxidation is what is not good for our cells. So that's not a good thing. We want to get rid of that out of our body. So again, we want to stick with our cold uses for these oils. It's great if you can afford to. If you can afford to, it's great to buy them organic, cold pressed, and extra virgin. So just keep that in mind. Buy what you can afford. Some great places to get some expensive oil, believe it or not. If you live locally, Ollie's. If you have an Ollie's, good stuff cheap. That's a great place to buy it. BJ's, Sam's Club, Costco, Walmart, believe it or not. Any of your big box stores that carry groceries. You can usually get your liquid oils a little bit cheaper. I'm a huge fan of the California olive oil. It is a little pricey, but again, if you're only using it for cold uses, I can get a huge container of that and it'll last me for 6 months. Remember though that these oils can go rancid and spoil, so we want to be careful how we keep them. We want to keep them in a dark bottle, in a cold environment, or cool environment I should say, not in the refrigerator, but just in a cool environment. And we want to remember they can spoil, so you do want to kind of sniff check and make sure that they're still good. Okay, next, oils to avoid. So things we want to avoid are things like your butter spreads. If it has got more than a couple of ingredients in there, it is a crap food. We like to call that processed food, and we're trying to avoid processed. Remember, we're eating healthier. So we want to get rid of our butter spreads, our margarine. I think just about everybody knows now that margarine, not so good for you, so avoid margarine. Canola oil, believe it or not, highly, highly processed oil. Not stable, tends to oxidize very easily. Just not a great substitute. Vegetable oil, again, you don't go out to a cornfield and squeeze the corn and get oil out of it. Not like an olive, right? We want to get that out of there. A very highly processed food. Soybean oil, again, highly, highly processed. Grapeseed oil, sunflower and safflower oils, shortening, fake outs, all of your fake, your fake fats. We want to get rid of all of that. Again, they cause inflammation in the body, and inflammation is linked to heart disease, so we want to get that inflammation down. They're highly processed, so anything that doesn't, if it doesn't make sense to you, is coming to you from a normal, natural fashion that, probably with a little effort, and you could probably make it yourself, probably not a good thing to eat. We want to also avoid things that have hydrogenated fats in them. If it says hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated, again, get that out of there. Those are things that they oxidize in the cells. We do not want that, so toss those out of there. Okay, so that's your basic kind of fat primer. And again, if you do not have a big budget, and a lot of us are really living on a shoestring, you really want to watch where you buy things. Olive oils now, they have these boutique sellers where you can go in, you can taste all these different olive oils. They'll tell you where the oils come from. They have different flavors that really can perk up a salad. Or a very light, cool saute. Again, I don't want you to get that olive oil really hot. We don't want to get to a burning point with olive oil because it'll oxidize. But these boutique sellers are great. They are a little pricey, but sometimes you can get like little small bottles at a reasonable price with some different flavors to them, and they are amazing. If you've never had a blood orange olive oil, oh my gosh, to die for. I also have a Persian lime downstairs that is amazing. So those are things to check out. But, you know, again, always go to your big box stores. You can generally get stuff really cheap. You can get stuff on Amazon. That's where I buy my coconut oil because it's very reasonable. I have it on Subscribe and Save, so I get an extra discount. Very, very affordable. Your farmers markets for your animal fats. You know, go to your local farmers market. I'm very spoiled in the town I live in. We have an amazing farmers market with a ton of organic farmers. So it's no big deal for me to get some grass-fed tallow or some pasture lard. You can also do those things yourself. If you buy, I think it's called fatback. If you buy fatback from a pig, you can actually render the lard yourself. So don't be afraid to check that out. Look into recipes. If you have the time, go for it. I frequently have to buy it already rendered, but it's very, very cheap. I can usually get it for a couple of bucks. But anything like that, you know, look at your resources, Google it, look and see the different kinds that you like. Like I said, for me, Nativa coconut oil and California olive oil is my favorite. Kerrygold butter is amazing. There's also one called SMJOR Schmore, I believe, that they sell at Whole Foods. It's a wonderful grass-fed butter. Just some of those that are just amazing sources, and they're really, really good. And it'll change the way you make things. It's amazing when you use quality products, how much better everything tastes. So check it out. Let me know how you make it out in your search. I would love to hear if you found something that really tasted amazing. Please share. Love to get a recipe. We're always all about that. And I will be posting some recipes this week, including an ice cream recipe. I promised somebody on Facebook I would post my ice cream recipe, so I'll definitely be doing that this week. And it's ice cream made with butter. So yes, my friends, you can make ice cream with butter, and it's really good. So I'll post that later this week. Any questions, you know where to reach me, facebook.com/holistic hacker. I'm also Holistic Hacker on Twitter, and of course you can always find me on our blog. I would love to hear from you. Leave me some comments. Talk to you soon.